When Margaret, a 58-year-old librarian from Portland, walked into her kitchen one Tuesday morning and couldn't remember the word for refrigerator, she laughed it off. She called it the cold thing and went about her day. But 3 months later, she was standing in the middle of a grocery store she'd shopped at for 22 years, and she couldn't remember how to get home. Her hands were shaking. Her phone was in her purse, but she couldn't recall how to open it. A stranger had to help her call her daughter. And when she finally sat in her doctor's office a week later, trembling, expecting the worst diagnosis of her life, her doctor told her something she never saw coming. He said, "Margaret, your brain isn't dying. It's starving. And what happened next didn't just change her life, it's going to change yours." Because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what Margaret's doctor told her, and more importantly, you will know the 5 specific foods that research now shows can actually regrow brain cells and restore memory. And the shocking part, they do their most powerful work while you're asleep. So stay with me, because what you're about to learn might be the most important thing you hear all year. Now, here's what nobody talks about. You've probably been told that once brain cells die, they're gone forever. You've probably heard that memory loss is just a natural part of aging, something you're supposed to accept like gray hair or reading glasses. That is a lie, and it's a dangerous one, because it stops people from doing the one thing that could actually save their minds. For decades, the medical community believed that the adult brain could not generate new neurons. They taught it in medical schools. They printed it in textbooks, and millions of people accepted their fading memory as fate. But in the last 15 years, neuroscience has been completely turned upside down. Researchers at institutions like Harvard, Columbia, and the Karolinska Institute have confirmed something extraordinary. Your brain can grow new cells. It's called neurogenesis, and it doesn't stop at age 20 or 40 or even 70. It can happen at any age. But here's the part that should alarm you. It only happens under the right conditions. And for most people, those conditions aren't being met, not even close. The average modern diet, the stress, the poor sleep, the processed food, all of it is actively suppressing your brain's ability to repair itself. Your brain is trying to heal every single night, and you're unknowingly blocking it. If you have a parent or a grandparent or anyone you love who's starting to forget things, share this video with them right now. It might be the most important thing you do for them this week, because what I'm about to reveal goes far deeper than you think. Let me peel back the first layer. Your brain has a built-in repair system that activates primarily during deep sleep. When you enter the deepest stages of your sleep cycle, something remarkable happens. Your brain releases a protein called BDNF, Brain-Derived Neurotrophic Factor. Think of BDNF as miracle fertilizer for your neurons. It strengthens existing connections, repairs damaged pathways, and most critically, it stimulates the growth of entirely new brain cells in a region called the hippocampus, the very area responsible for memory and learning. Now, here's where it gets alarming. When BDNF levels are low, your hippocampus literally shrinks. Studies published in the Journal of Neuroscience have measured this. People with chronically low BDNF show measurable brain shrinkage on MRI scans, and that shrinkage directly correlates with memory loss, confusion, and cognitive decline. But when BDNF levels are high, the opposite happens. The hippocampus grows, new neurons form, old connections are strengthened, memory sharpens. And here's the revelation beneath the revelation. Certain foods contain compounds that dramatically increase BDNF production. And because BDNF is most active during deep sleep, eating these foods in the evening creates a perfect storm of brain regeneration that happens while you're lying in bed doing absolutely nothing. Your body already knows how to heal your brain. It's been waiting for you to give it the right raw materials. So let's talk about those materials, starting with a food so common, so inexpensive, that you'll wonder why every doctor on the planet isn't prescribing it. The first food is wild blueberries, and before you think this is just another superfood cliche, let me tell you what's actually happening at the molecular level, because it's far more powerful than anyone gives it credit for. Wild blueberries contain one of the highest concentrations of compounds called anthocyanins found in any food on Earth. Anthocyanins are the pigments that give blueberries their deep blue-purple color, but inside your brain, they act like tiny repair crews. A landmark study from the University of Exeter found that participants who consumed wild blueberries daily for 12 weeks showed significantly improved blood flow to the brain, enhanced memory recall, and measurably faster cognitive processing. But here's what makes this truly remarkable for nighttime brain repair. Anthocyanins have been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier, a tightly guarded wall that blocks most substances from entering the brain, and once inside, they reduce neuroinflammation and directly stimulate BDNF production. Think of it this way. If your brain is a garden that's been neglected and overrun with weeds, anthocyanins are like a gardening crew that comes in at night, pulls the weeds, enriches the soil, and plants new seeds, all while you sleep. The practical tip here is simple. Eat a half cup of wild blueberries, not cultivated, wild, in the evening, ideally about 2 hours before bed. Frozen wild blueberries are just as effective and a fraction of the cost. You can add them to yogurt, blend them into a small smoothie, or simply eat them straight from the bowl. This one habit alone has been shown to improve memory markers within just 2 weeks. But blueberries are only the beginning, because the second food on this list does something blueberries can't, and it involves the very structure of your brain cells themselves. If someone you care about has been struggling with their memory, just pause for one moment and send them this video. Sometimes the people who need this most aren't the ones searching for it. You could change someone's life with one simple share. The second food is wild-caught salmon, and the reason it's so critical has to do with a substance called DHA. DHA, or docosahexaenoic acid, is an omega-3 fatty acid, and here's a fact that will stop you in your tracks. Your brain is nearly 60% fat by dry weight, and DHA is the single most abundant fatty acid in your brain structure. It's not just fuel, it is literally the building material your neurons are made of. Without adequate DHA, your brain cells can't form proper membranes. Their signaling breaks down, and they become brittle and vulnerable to damage. A study published in the journal Neurology followed over 1,400 adults for nearly a decade and found that those with the lowest DHA levels had significantly more brain shrinkage and scored worse on every memory and cognitive test. Their brains were aging faster, visibly and measurably. But here's the hopeful part. When DHA levels are restored, brain cell membranes become flexible and efficient again, synaptic connections strengthen, and neurogenesis accelerates, especially during sleep. Wild-caught salmon is one of the most potent sources of DHA available. Think of DHA as the bricks and mortar of your brain's architecture. Without it, the walls start crumbling. With it, your brain can rebuild room by room, night by night. The ideal approach is to eat a 4 to 6 ounce serving of wild-caught salmon in the evening 3 to 4 times per week. The timing matters because your body processes and delivers DHA to the brain most efficiently during your nighttime fasting state. If you're not a fish person, wild-caught sardines or mackerel offer similar benefits. And if what you're learning right now is starting to shift the way you think about food and your brain, hold on, because the third food on this list contains a compound so powerful that pharmaceutical companies have been trying to synthesize it into a drug for over a decade. The third food is turmeric, or more specifically, the active compound inside it called curcumin. Now, you may have heard that turmeric is good for inflammation, and that's true, but what most people don't realize is that curcumin is one of the very few natural compounds ever documented to cross the blood-brain barrier and directly increase BDNF levels in brain tissue. A study from the American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry conducted at UCLA gave participants a bioavailable form of curcumin twice daily for 18 months. The results were staggering. The curcumin group showed a 28% improvement in memory tests compared to placebo. But even more remarkable, PET scans revealed significantly less amyloid and tau buildup in the brain, the very proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. Curcumin is doing three things simultaneously inside your brain. It's reducing chronic neuroinflammation, the slow-burning fire that destroys neurons over decades. It's boosting BDNF production, which triggers the growth of new brain cells, and it's acting as a direct antioxidant, neutralizing free radicals that damage brain tissue during sleep's repair cycles. Imagine your brain is a house that's been slowly damaged by a hidden fire inside the walls. Curcumin doesn't just put out the fire, it repairs the walls, strengthens the foundation, and installs a fire prevention system, all while you're dreaming. Here's the key, though. Regular turmeric powder from your spice rack has very low bioavailability, meaning your body can barely absorb it. To unlock its brain-healing power, you need to combine it with black pepper, which contains piperine, a compound that increases curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. Take a golden milk before bed, a warm cup of milk or plant-based milk with a teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and a touch of honey. This simple nighttime ritual delivers curcumin to your brain precisely when it's primed for repair. And what I'm about to share next, the fourth food, is something Dr. William Lee, a renowned physician and researcher in the field of angiogenesis, has specifically highlighted in his groundbreaking work on how food can be used as medicine. The fourth food is walnuts, and they are far more interesting than most people realize. Walnuts are the only tree nut that contains a significant amount of alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid that your body can convert into DHA, the same brain-building compound we discussed with salmon. But that's just the surface layer. Peel it back further, and you find something even more fascinating. Walnuts contain a natural form of melatonin, the very hormone your brain uses to initiate deep sleep. This makes walnuts uniquely powerful for nighttime brain regeneration, because they're not just providing the raw materials for brain repair, they're also helping trigger the deep sleep state where that repair actually happens. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health, and Aging found that participants who consumed walnuts regularly showed significantly better cognitive function, sharper memory, and faster processing speed across all age groups. And a separate study from the David Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA demonstrated that walnut consumption was associated with improved performance on cognitive tests regardless of age, gender, or ethnicity. Think of walnuts as a two-in-one nighttime brain treatment. They hand your brain the building materials and then turn on the construction lights so the crew can work through the night. The ideal amount is about a quarter cup, roughly 7 to 8 walnut halves, eaten approximately 90 minutes before bed. Don't roast them or coat them in salt and sugar. Raw walnuts, just as nature made them. That small handful carries more brain-regenerating potential than most people will ever understand. Now, the fifth and final food on this list is the one that surprised me the most when I first encountered the research, because it's something most doctors tell you to avoid. If you've made it this far, you're clearly someone who takes their health seriously, and that means the world. If you know even one person who complains about their memory, who's scared about their future, who's watching a parent slip away, please share this video with them. You have no idea how much a single share can mean to someone who needs this information. The fifth food is dark chocolate, and I don't mean the sugar-loaded milk chocolate bars in the checkout aisle. I mean high cacao dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher. Cacao contains one of the most potent classes of flavonoids ever studied for brain health. A groundbreaking study from Columbia University's Irving Medical Center tested high flavonoid cacao on adults aged 50 to 69 and found something extraordinary. After just 3 months, the cacao group's memory function had been restored to levels typical of people 20 to 30 years younger. Their hippocampal function, the seat of memory, had measurably improved. The flavonoids in dark chocolate increased blood flow to the brain, enhanced neuroplasticity, and here's the key connection: they significantly boost BDNF production. They also stimulate the release of endorphins and serotonin, which improve mood and reduce the stress hormones that actively destroy brain cells. Think of dark chocolate as the final piece of the puzzle, the compound that amplifies everything else on this list. It enhances blood flow, so the anthocyanins from blueberries reach more brain tissue. It supports the neuroplasticity that DHA enables. It amplifies the BDNF that curcumin triggers. It deepens the sleep that walnuts initiate. Everything works together. 1 to 2 small squares of high-quality dark chocolate, 70% cacao or above, eaten in the evening, is enough. Not a full bar, just 1 or 2 squares. Your brain doesn't need excess. It needs precision. Now let me tell you about a woman named Grace. Grace was 67 years old, a retired school principal from Minneapolis who came to her neurologist in tears. Over the previous 2 years, she had gone from being the sharpest person in every room to someone who couldn't remember whether she'd taken her medication an hour ago. She was losing words mid-sentence. She was forgetting appointments. She had started writing everything down on sticky notes and then forgetting where she put the sticky notes. Her initial cognitive assessment scores were concerning. Her doctor ran every test, checked for thyroid issues, vitamin deficiencies, depression, all the usual suspects. Everything came back normal, but her brain was clearly declining. Instead of immediately reaching for a prescription pad, her neurologist, who had been following emerging research on food-based neuroregeneration, proposed something unconventional. He asked Grace to commit to a 90-day protocol. Every evening, she would have a small bowl of wild blueberries with walnuts. She would eat wild-caught salmon 3 times a week for dinner. She would drink golden milk with turmeric and black pepper before bed. And she would have 2 squares of dark chocolate as her evening treat. No medications, no supplements, just food timed specifically for the evening. Grace was skeptical, but desperate enough to try. At her 30-day follow-up, she reported sleeping more deeply than she had in years. At 60 days, her daughter noticed she was telling stories again, recalling details she hadn't mentioned in months. And at 90 days, Grace took the same cognitive assessment she'd failed 3 months earlier. Her scores had improved by 34%. Her neurologist told her it was one of the most dramatic improvements he had seen without pharmaceutical intervention. Grace didn't just stop declining. She reversed it. And the foundation of that reversal was 5 foods, eaten in the evening, doing their work while she slept. Here's what ties all of this together, and this is the part most people miss. These 5 foods are not just a grocery list. They are a system. They work together in a way that is far more powerful than any of them alone. The blueberries provide anthocyanins that cross the blood-brain barrier and put out the fires of neuroinflammation. The salmon delivers DHA, the structural building material that your neurons are literally made of. The turmeric floods your brain with curcumin, jacking up BDNF production and cleaning out toxic proteins. The walnuts provide additional omega-3s while simultaneously releasing natural melatonin to push you into the deep sleep phase where all this repair happens. And the dark chocolate amplifies everything, boosting blood flow so every compound reaches more brain tissue while triggering additional BDNF and serotonin release. Each food unlocks the next. Remove one, and the system weakens. Combine all 5, and you create a nightly cascade of brain regeneration that builds on itself night after night, week after week. But here's the timing secret that almost nobody knows. It's not just what you eat, it's when. Your brain's repair cycle peaks between approximately 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. during the deepest stages of non-REM sleep. That means the compounds from these foods need to be digested, absorbed, and circulating in your bloodstream before that window opens. The ideal protocol is simple. Eat your salmon or main evening meal around 6 to 7 p.m. Have your blueberries with walnuts around 8 p.m. Drink your golden turmeric milk around 9 p.m. and have your 2 squares of dark chocolate shortly after. By the time your head hits the pillow, your bloodstream is loaded with anthocyanins, DHA, curcumin, alpha-linolenic acid, natural melatonin, and flavonoids, all arriving at your brain precisely when it's entering its deepest repair cycle. The first night, you'll likely sleep more deeply. Within a week, many people report waking up feeling noticeably sharper. Within a month, the compound effect begins to show in ways that genuinely surprise people. And within 3 months, like Grace, You could be looking at measurable, testable improvements. You don't need perfection. You don't need to follow this rigidly every single night. Consistency matters more than perfection. 5 nights a week is enough to trigger the cumulative effect. Your brain is remarkably forgiving if you give it what it needs most of the time. Now, I want to talk directly to you, not to the algorithm, not to the audience, to you, the person watching this right now. I know why you clicked on this video. Maybe you've been forgetting things. Maybe it's small things for now, a name, a word, where you put your keys. Or maybe it's bigger and it scares you, and you haven't told anyone just how scared you are. Or maybe it's not you at all. Maybe it's someone you love, and you've been watching them slip away and you feel helpless. I need you to hear this. Memory loss is not inevitable. Cognitive decline is not your destiny. The science is clear, and it's more hopeful than it has ever been in human history. Your brain can grow new cells at any age. Your hippocampus can expand at 60, at 70, at 80. Researchers have documented neurogenesis in people well into their 90s. The idea that your brain is a candle slowly burning down to nothing is outdated, disproven, and dangerously wrong. Your brain is more like a garden. And yes, it can be neglected. It can be overrun. But given the right nutrients, given the right conditions, it can bloom again in ways that will astonish you. 5 foods, eaten in the evening, working while you sleep. That is not a miracle. That is biology. That is your body doing exactly what it was designed to do when you finally stop starving it of what it needs. This isn't just about you remembering where you parked your car or recalling someone's name at a party. This is about being present. This is about being there, truly there, for the moments that matter. It's about your granddaughter running up to you 10 years from now and you knowing her name instantly, feeling the full weight of that joy, and pulling her into a hug with tears in your eyes because you remember everything, every birthday, every bedtime story, every silly nickname. That is what's at stake. Not just brain cells and memory tests, but the moments that make a life worth living. And you now have the knowledge to protect those moments, not with expensive drugs, not with complicated programs, with 5 foods and the night hours your body already gives you for free. So tonight, when you sit down for your evening meal, you have a choice. The same plate of processed food you've been eating on autopilot for years, or something different, something deliberate, something that bite by bite, night by night, quietly rebuilds the most extraordinary organ ever created. Dr. William Lee once said that the fork is the most powerful tool in your medical kit. Tonight, prove him right. And if this message moved you, if it gave you even a sliver of hope, then please, do one last thing. Think of one person you love, one person whose memory matters to you, and send them this video. Because the tragedy isn't that this information exists. The tragedy is that the people who need it most never find it. Don't let someone you love be one of them.